This farm exists for at least 4 reasons. Firstly, to underpin milk production, dairy production in Tasmania.
Currently we're milking 350 cows. 240 of them are in the main herd. The other 109 are split across the 4 farmlets.
We've also got to think about sustainability. The sustainability of our soils, the sustainability of our systems, what are the pollutions that we're creating, how we can reduce inputs. We've got to use less nitrogen, we've got to use less phosphorus, we've got to use less fossil fuel in order to ensure that the dairy industry is sustainable in the long term.
Last winter was a fairly warm winter. Everybody said, oh, clover will disappear over winter. It didn't. It kept on growing together with the grass.
This farm exists for impact. There's no use doing research if all that ever happens to it is that it's written up into a journal article, gets put on a dusty shelf, and that's the last that anybody really reads of it or sees it.
We've upgraded the infrastructure on this farm to enable us to do farmlet-style research where we've got a systems approach to understanding some of the challenges that we face as an industry.
Zero nitrogen on farmlet 4. Who would expect that not to reduce in growth rates? We did. We used common sense, so we reduced the stocking rate, and it turns out the growth rates are not lower, so that is understocked. So the only difference for farmlet 4 is less cows, is less milk solids, and much more grass into silage.
As James said, we're looking to try and diversify this feed base a bit and perhaps back off on our nitrogen inputs. And wherever possible, we're trying to cultivate and nurture any bit of remaining biodiversity we've got in our native vegetation.
Virtual fencing is a technology that's used to manage and control the movement of cattle using sensory cues rather than a physical fence or an electric fence. The technology includes all these continuous monitoring of cow behaviour and health and gives you a history of the individual animal.
It pleases me enormously that every time I turn up to this farm, just by chance, there happens to be a school group or a TAFE group, and absolutely that is a core reason for this farm.